Look at this. I got headphones on. I got a mic going. Baby.
If
Huh?
only people could see you now.
Hey, no video. We've gone through this before.
All
No video.
all right. Welcome to This Commerce Life. This is a podcast aimed at small, medium entrepreneurs focused on commerce. I'm Phil, your host, and Kenny, your co-host, will join us as well. And we're going to talk to you about the world of retail and commerce and how things are changing in the world. You are here, you poor bastard.
It's freaking
cold here.
Holy moly.
It is
like
so
it's
cold.
cold.
Yeah.
I don't even, you know what? Turn your video off, Laurie. I don't want to see that.
No.
Seriously,
Do
it's
not.
like minus 15 with the wind here. It's
don't you
cold.
dare turn it off. I'm
love that
so happy the
tree.
palm trees are just like,
oh my God.
I know. See, I'm just perma smile. Like it's just it's
There's
my happy
snow on the
place.
ground today.
Oh,
What's that?
seriously.
Because I'm out in Kitchener or Cambridge or Waterloo or whatever. I'm in one of those places.
Yeah. The Tri-City. Yeah. They're
It's not bad up here. It's nice
the
up here.
Tri-Towns, yeah.
They're not towns. They're 100-some thousand each. You're such a big city slicker slob.
Yeah,
a snobby.
Tri-Town.
Be like that.
Those are Tri-Towns. Like those are.
They're not towns.
Little,
they're big.
Yeah. No, those are little. Yeah.
They're not little.
Yeah.
The little
Laurie's
one, I think, is the size
Laurie's
of Kelowna.
like, I could give a crap. You two uptight.
Yeah, whatever.
Working stiffs. I'm chilling out on the beach. Like,
where are you?
Maui.
Nice.
Maui. Yes.
Nice.
And it's so weird though, walking and hearing, watching the waves and the sun and everything else, and then hearing Bing Crosby singing "It's a White Christmas" along the boardwalk. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
That's nice. How long are you there for?
Until a total of 10 days. So
nice.
She's never coming back.
Yeah.
There may be a time.
Computer.
There may be a time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Today's world. I mean, really?
Yeah, we can work wherever, and I have been. I've been doing all of my coaching calls from here because
why not?
Clients still need to be served. So
I think there's something therapeutic, though. I mean, the fact that those are real palm trees in the background, maybe you can account for some therapy. It's making me calmer already, right? Like,
really?
The palm tree. Oh yeah.
Really?
God, I love trees. Yeah.
Because it's late. You're delusional. That's why.
You know what I'm telling you. So I think the wife is scared for us to go back to Hawaii because I actually might not come back this time. The first time I went, I have been so many places in the world and I always want to come home, right? Like after 2 weeks, it's kind of like, I got to go home. And after Hawaii, we did 3 islands. But after Hawaii, I didn't want to come home. I kept hoping that the flights would be delayed, that, anything we could do to stay a couple more days. So I think she's afraid. If we go back again, I may not come back.
There's a lot more things you could be fearful of in life. That's definitely not one of the big ones.
I had my first flight delay ever flying home from London, Ontario, just before I came here to Maui. 6.5 hours, I had my first experience of an ice storm.
Yeah.
What the heck? What are those all about? That was crazy. Yeah. So never happens when it's a place that, I want to stay at.
Emily and I, what's funny? 4 years ago, we were in Hawaii. It was only our second time. We went once in 90, I can't remember, 93, 94. And we went back 4 years ago and we got delayed 2 days.
No kidding.
It's no shit.
You never hear that happening.
Honolulu. And the worst thing is, thank God she never listens to our podcast. I could have killed her. She wanted to get out early. Like, we're scrambling. I'm thinking, are you on drugs? Like, are you mental? What are we doing? Oh, I got to get back to work. I'm thinking, who gives a shit? We've got an excuse. The planes are not flying.
Yeah, this is the best place to get stuck. Like, yeah.
So we had 2 extra days.
You could literally sleep on the beach and really not.
You know what? We got put up. We were staying at the Hilton Gardens. We checked out, go to the airport, check back into the Hilton Gardens. They put us up for 2 nights. It was fantastic. That's the only time we've ever been delayed. Well, I'm not delayed. I've been delayed a million times. But that's the only time I've had a planned, nice layover, like where I was thinking, oh my God, this is wonderful.
That's fantastic.
I mean, I've been stuck in Chicago. That wasn't much of fun.
Well, my kids might not be so thrilled. It's getting closer to Christmas and mom and dad aren't home. So I think
tough beans. Tough beans.
They're not kids anymore. You make sure they get everything done before you get home.
I know, exactly.
Send cash.
Yeah.
They'll be fine. That's all they really want from us anyway.
This is so true. Cash and food.
Exactly. Even food's not, debatable these days.
Oh,
yeah.
Cash for sure.
Oh, man.
Anyway.
So we're on our second What Would Laurie Do session.
We know what Laurie would do. Laurie would go to Hawaii.
So we're like 7 minutes in. And you guys are listening and you can't see. But Kenny and Kenny's in a dark, kind of dimly lit hotel room. Yeah. I'm in my basement as usual. And then Laurie's got this gorgeous set of palm trees
on a balcony looking at the ocean.
Balcony and looking very sunny and happy,
way too relaxed,
and very relaxed, especially in stark contrast to probably my face and Kenny's face.
Yeah,
which aren't joys to look at already, but when you look at how relaxed Laurie looks,
really
now
look
it's
bad.
like, oh my god,
Well, it's funny listening to last week's episode, guys. Holy cow.
Yes.
Kenny, I was wondering whether or not you'd make it to this one. You were so a little stressed out from last time. So you had a better week?
I feel a little bit better this week. I do. It's like, I don't know. I was telling, you know what it's like? It's up and down. It's up and down. And I think what I did, I don't know, I got myself so worked up as usual, right? Whatever. But then I just sat back and said, okay, look at the list. Okay. Not important. Can wait.
Mm-hmm.
Do now. And it kind of just freed up the plate a little bit and calmed it all down to some degree.
Well, and you know what caught me was, there was two things. Actually, no, I'm going to show you. I made a whole
I knew. I'm surprised I wasn't a book after last week. I went back and listened. I thought, oh shit, here we go.
No, it was so good because, your listeners are feeling exactly as you're feeling. Yeah, right? They're entrepreneurs and they're trying to figure out how to do this balance between everything. But what triggered me or what stuck out for me was the word burnout, right? Because that is clearly a feeling that not any of us would, I think, purposely take off of a platter of feelings available to us, right? Like there's lots of different emotions out there. Burnout would not be one I would sign up to go take.
Right.
So there was that, as well as then there was the thought that was a common thread throughout all of it was that I don't want to let anybody down, right? And that you had to find a win-win for everybody. And that's it. You had said that a few times, that if you were my regular client, I would say, okay, how is that thought serving you? It may sound fantastic that this is in fact what you want, but in the end of the day, it is ultimately causing you burnout.
Well, I think if we ask the question, how is it serving me? How did I sound?
Exactly.
That's exactly how it's serving me.
Okay. So, but here's the thing, like you would think, and so I, for the listeners that can't see, and actually I don't think the guys can see because I'm now sitting in the dark because now we lose the sunlight really early.
God, that happened fast.
I know, it did.
Yeah, it did, yeah.
But, we've got these thoughts that keep coming up to us all the time. So that one, two of them, in fact, I wrote because you've had like a few times was, I don't want to let people down and there's got to be a win for everyone. Right. And so I get the sense for you that making everybody happy, you're owning that responsibility. Yeah. And so would there be a further belief that it's not a good thing for other people to feel disappointed and unhappy? It's like, well, wait a minute. That's 50% of our existence as humans is we're going to have that negative emotion, right? So for you trying to prolong somebody never to feel it, well, for one, you can't ever guarantee that because other people determine their own feelings by their own thoughts and actions. So you're already setting yourself up for failure because you're trying to control other factors that aren't within your measure to do, right? And that's just so fascinating. And so you're actually causing all of the failure. So you want everyone to have a win, but it's at all of your own expense,
totally,
right? Of your own health. And so that I know you know this, but I think we needed to capture the thoughts.
Yeah.
And so as a coach, I would ask, what is a different thought that you could have? So when you see that thought come through, oh, wait a minute, I am thinking that I should make everybody happy here. Okay, wait a minute, that's not up to me, right? Because I'm actually doing it I'm causing myself to be unhappy doing all of this. So somebody's actually not winning here, and it's me, and you're the only one that you can control.
I knew this was going to be a case study on me.
Sorry.
You know what? I think you're obviously right. I mean, we know that you kind of, when you go back and you listen, or even when I'm talking it, I know I can hear myself talking, right? I know what I'm saying. It's just, it's like everything. You're always trying to rationalize, you're trying to articulate and say, okay, but I can manage it. Or,
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be a win. Like you can see the win coming. And quite frankly, it doesn't come. It doesn't, because at the end of the day, I was exhausted. That's it. I mean, there's no win on it for me. I think everybody else did probably relatively well, but I sure wasn't feeling that good that day.
What a great exercise for you would be to really do some thinking as to what it is that you would categorize as a win, right? Because I think you've just labeled it as, with the thought that there's a win for everyone. You're thinking it looks a certain way for your clients, which in fact, okay, it could be success equals revenue, right? That way. But what does that mean for you, right? A win for Kenny. Well, what does that equal? Of elevated heart rate and, right, frustration and not liking what I'm doing. So how is that a win? So I will often say to my clients of really getting down and kind of examining and the words that they're actually using, and what is the definition, right? Another one that I grabbed, I'm just trying to think of what it was here. Oh, I guess is when it's all good, I don't want to stop. And but which is so interesting, even having that thought, but you're ending up going to be stopping because you're going to get burnt out.
Yeah. By
doing it. Right. Sorry, I didn't mean to right out of the gate pick on you. Sorry. It was just
sure felt like it.
So much goodness. I'm going to change that. Moving over to the light.
So I have some questions. Because I think one of the things that, we were talking about last week was how do you balance back out so that, because like both of us are, when we're freelancing and doing jobs, we love that lifestyle, right? And it's almost like Kenny's collected so many things he loves that it's too much love. Right? Like it's too much love, and it's starting to
see. That sounds so good, doesn't it? How could you have too much love?
No, but so I think my question for Laurie is how do you take that emotion, right? Because Kenny and I have similar things. Like, the first, what would Laurie do was about me always feeling like I have to be a fixer, right? That I have to be someone that helps, and that I'm not even looking for, I'm not seeking permission. I'm just trying to fix things, right? And Kenny's in a similar boat where he's trying to keep everybody happy, right? And he's taking on jobs where people are getting stuff out of it, but he's not getting what he wants out of it. So how do you balance that out? Like, at what point is it too much love? Right? Mm-hmm. Like in that, I guess, is there a mental check that we should be doing in the planning process? Because I think I can't imagine that we're the only ones. I feel like all entrepreneurs go through this where you're kind of like,
this is pretty normal.
I love it. I'm going to do it. And then all of a sudden you're like, I took on too many things that I love, and now I hate all of them because they all suck, right? Like, so how do you, is there a check or balance along the way that we should be doing?
I think a good place to start would be each time you take on something new, mm-hmm. asking yourself why, right? Like what is the reason that I'm choosing to take this on? And would it be for Kenny, I mean, that was clear, it wasn't money generated, right? It was because of the want and the desire to make a difference, do whatever it is. Then and maybe it might be more helpful, as you know, I always like going into one example, but what is the thought that goes through our mind to decide to do that? Because that will be the determining factor as to, do you like your reason for taking it on, right? And is it out of scarcity? And I think a little bit of FOMO came up of like, well, I don't want to miss anything. Okay, but at the end of the day, if you're 10 feet under, you're missing a lot, right? If you've actually burnt yourself out to not being able to participate in anything, right? So can you give me an example of something that might cross your plate that you would go, yeah, that's the next project I want to do? And maybe make it up, because right now I know you're dealing with some things you can't necessarily share right away, but.
They're all cool. That's why we don't say no. They all kind of, you kind of look, well, that's cool. And then someone, well, that's cool too.
Okay.
So then you start looking at it, you're thinking, well, they're all kind of cool.
Okay.
So it's hard because a lot of times, you know what, it might be one of those things that the project itself might be just something, wow, that's super intriguing. Or it might be, geez, this person needs some help, I think I can do it. And then I don't know sometimes I don't know if it's just like, maybe it's the stress. Maybe I enjoy the stress, some mental way upstairs. I kind of like it, or I just like the adrenaline of it. I'm not too sure what the hell the rationale is. I mean, sometimes I think greed might kick in. Like, so it could be a bunch of things where I'm not too sure. Sometimes I think a lot of times if I do, it's because I look and I thought, wow, man, that looked pretty cool.
Okay.
But I don't know what that even is, but I just get that feeling that, shit, I don't want to miss this because I think this one's cool.
Okay. So let's go with that, with the thought that you don't want to miss it. Why?
Well, because I don't want to miss it.
By missing it, how would that make you feel if you missed out on it?
Oh, I'd feel kind of sad, I guess.
Okay.
Because I think I don't want to not. I mean, how about if it went really good? How about if, you miss an opportunity that it turns out to be, like the next Apple? I don't know, whatever it is. Where you kind of, I don't know, maybe I just don't want to miss out.
Okay.
I'm not too sure what I'm missing out on, but.
Okay. So if you, and I guess the nugget to that would be, is that you're not wanting to miss out on something for the fear of not, like, it's going to make you feel sad, right? But at the end of, let's go to the last podcast, of taking on so many things and feeling burnout, it's kind of like what we talked about in one of the other episodes, is failure ahead of time, right? By not actually choosing your parameters of what you can do and the reasons for why you're doing them, you potentially could actually end up just creating that reality ahead of time, right? Because you ended up getting burnt out.
Well, it looks like I pre-book it, right? Is almost what it feels like sometimes. I'm kind of just signing up for it.
Yeah.
Right. And again, I just don't think I'm thinking at the time. You just look, I think like Phil and I have probably had, it's squirrel and shiny object, right? You're thinking, oh shit, this looks cool.
Yeah.
Without thinking that, well, that is cool. It actually is cool, but there's a million cool things you're already doing, and you're really not going to miss much in life by potentially either not doing this cool thing, or maybe you have to look at dropping another cool thing. Like you might have, I've got to learn how to balance it just a little bit better. And I don't know, man. I get this rush that I got to look at it.
Well, and here's the thing that I would offer is, what's causing you to have the rush is maybe that's the part of the project that you want to be involved in. Because then, as I'm hearing you say, the rest of it, then once it gets past a certain part, that's the part that you're like, no, it's not what I want to be part of. So maybe finding the balance is that you're taking on projects for just, I'll offer it, the cream on the coffee, right? The whipped cream part. That's the part that you want to be involved in. You don't want to get down into the meat of the cafe, right? You're wanting to just be on that upper level. And then you could sustain that, because then that continues to go and you're not getting
that is probably definitively where it is in large part. Is I like the top part. I like the cream. I like the whipped cream. I like having the fun. Once you get into the meat and potatoes of it, my interest will just start to wane. But at that point, which then it becomes the other part, whereas, well, now you're thinking, oh shit, I took the job. I don't want to disappoint anybody. I want to make sure I do a good job. So then you're doing it, but you're more begrudgingly doing it, as opposed to, the rush that was the start of it. And I think some of the solution, we'll tell you the truth, why I feel a little bit better this week. A few of the tasks that kind of bog it down. And I don't mind doing, but they aggravate the hell out of me at the same time because they take time. I have started to pass off or just take off the plate just to get them away from me. And even just that little bit just made it a little bit more palatable. But I had to take the step to do it because I didn't want to, that's where I think where greed kicks in. Then I think, oh, geez, you know what? I don't want to pay somebody to do it. And then you're thinking, wow, really? I mean, every episode I think we've told people, if you're not either good at it or if you can pawn it off, really and truly, you probably should. Because at the end of the day, what it does do, it frees my time up to get stoked again on the next project that's probably going to come at me, and then I think I just got to learn how to I could probably take things, Laura. I just got to learn how to give the parts up that I can maybe, or that I've got to just learn how to, I can't do it all.
I wonder what it would look like for you to actually know what is that top layer for you. And it includes A, B, C. And so when you go in to negotiate a contract, a consulting gig, like this is what I will do, A, B, and C. Anything after that, you're going to have to find, and you're not even put in that position.
Yeah.
Actually have to do that. And right now, just so you know, I'm coaching on the A line. I'm coaching on the actions to take, and we're not talking about your mindset. I think there's value in doing that. No, there's value. There's value in.
Just easy does it there, young lady. Just easy does it.
But there's value in doing that. But Phil, you talked about in the last podcast of how you now are going into saying, yes, you want me to do everything. I'm actually only going to, this is what I'm able to provide. And there's confidence in that of just knowing you're not going to get into the bowels of what it is that you really get bogged down to and not wanting to do. So I just wonder, Kenny, for you, now that you've seen this and enlightened from it, really just figuring out what is it that you could articulate are those top things, and the next ones that come along, that's exactly what it is, that's what you're going to do, and stop. Like that's.
I think, Laurie, honestly, I think even with the ones I have, I could probably do that now. The problem I have, is typically I don't go into things with the thought that I probably should. One, I don't write down. I listen to it and then I just get stoked. And I don't, I'm not sitting there thinking, okay, think this through, idiot. Like, put this down. What does this job entail? What of the entailments that you want to do? And what would you say to them? Not my gig, not my gig. I'll do this, 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 and this. But what I tend to do is I'm quite frankly, I know me well. I tend to just get excited. I don't necessarily listen to the whole pitch. I don't listen to what sort of the weeds would be. And it just sounds so cool. As opposed to going in with a clearer plan or listening to it, breathing, walking away, re-looking at it and saying, okay, this is what I heard. Here's the 50 things that are part of it. I'm good with these 32. These 18 are not the thrill for me. And then going back and saying, listen, this is what I want to do. Because I've got enough confidence to do that. I don't need to do things. I'm at a stage in my life where I can pick what I want to do. And maybe at that point say, listen, this is, I can oversee it all, but I'm going to do these things, and these things I'm not going to do, but I might be able to, I can either contract them out, help you find somebody who could do it. I can do that so that I'm at least not getting myself buried into those weeds.
So what would you have to think in order to be able to do that the next time that you are pitched an idea?
I think I just have to think. It's pretty much, I think I just need to really and truly, it sounds fun. I think I just need to think sometimes. I think I need to take a breath of air and just, I probably should just not say, I probably should just listen. And I'm not good at it. Just listen and walk away and see if I can actually repeat what I just listened to. Do you know what I mean? Because I can hear it. Sometimes I don't listen to it. I don't register. And then by the time I'm in, right?
And it's not uncommon. This is what 99% of my clients, the first step I'm always saying is to acknowledge the feeling that they're having, right? Because a lot of the times they can't get the thought, but they'll feel, in a lot of the ways, it's the negative emotion that they're feeling frustrated or anxiety or overwhelmed, right? So for you, it's excitement, which then leads you right into making a verbal commitment and making an agreement. Yeah. So it's that same thing, acknowledgement first. And then I always say it's like an ABC. Acknowledge, and then B is to be still, right? To actually just sit in it for a minute. So the excitement feeling of you knowing, you get excited because there's something here you're interested in, but great. I actually have to pause in this for a minute in order to know what's best for me.
Yeah, I think that's the problem part.
Yeah. And it is only because right now you're thinking it is, right? But it doesn't have to be in your future.
It shouldn't be, right? Because I should be able to, this is in this theory, it should be manageable.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, honestly, someone talks, you just listen, breathe, walk away, come back. But the tendency I have, you listen and think, oh my God, this sounds freaking amazing.
Well, and you know what? When you have that thought, you have evidence to support how many times you've gotten excited about it before in the past of all of these other times, right?
Yeah, 53 years worth.
Yeah. So your brain, so it is an efficient thought that you just continue to have. Yeah. So that's just the key. If that thought's not going to go away, but just acknowledging it when it does kind of go, right? Wait a minute, when this comes, I tend to always react really quickly. Right? So then you
can get rid of the 10. The always react is probably more accurate. Thank you for throwing the 10 too, though. It did make me feel a little bit better and probably sound a little bit better, but there's not much 10 to.
But it's I think it's tough to like. So I was thinking about I've been thinking about this all week, right? Because I think
you're just happy because it's not you. That's what it is.
That's different.
I know what you're thinking about.
That's different.
That's another story, by the way. That's another podcast.
But I was thinking about it all week, and I was wondering because I think in that regard, I'm different in the sense that because we've talked about this on a whole series of podcasts, like what we call you, what kind of your title is, you know what I mean, like that whole thing. But because you do so many things in like the life cycle of a business, whereas like a guy like me, I'm I'm a digital marketer and I'm a messaging guy, and I can kind of like I have a
specialize a lot more.
Yeah, I have a spot in the ecosystem, and I'm actually shrinking mine because I really like parts of what I do, and so like the SEO parts I know how to do, but I don't like it, so I don't do it anymore. Right. So it's easy for me when people go, oh, I need to like make my life more digital. I need to do more digital things. I listen to it and I go, that's cool, but I don't care. Like, I don't want to do that. I want to do these parts. I can help you with this. Right. I think in your case, it's a little bit harder because you're a generalist in a lot of ways, right? Like you're good at helping all of it. Like, I don't know. Like, I wonder if somewhere in there, you have to find the parts of running an organization that you love. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if you can get as specific as I can, but somewhere in there, maybe there are parts where you just go, look, like I don't know, like I've done 10 million ski rats this year. I don't want to do that, but I haven't done enough of this. I'm going to go help you with that. Like, this is the part I can kind of jump in and help you with.
I think the part is I don't have to get it down to the level. I don't have to become the specialist necessarily that you or anybody is. I think what I need to do is just define the things I just really like to do more than other things. Yeah. So you may like to do 3 things and I still might like to do 10, but the 10 is better than the 25.
And you know what, a really good exercise to do that is literally, as Phil's saying, make a list out of maybe just even one of your contracts right now of all of the things that you're doing, and simply write what emotion comes up for you beside it. That'll be a huge trigger for you. If all of a sudden, the terminology comes, right?
Then you'll laughing, eh? You see him? He's just laughing at me.
Because you know what that's going to look like, right?
We all know what that's going to look like.
Yeah. But then you get to decide, right?
Oh my God. Oh, Laurie.
But I think, I don't know, like, so I can say, I mean, I've got the NIMI job, but even in the NIMI job, there are things that I hate that I've made a list of that I'm not going to do, right? Like when I leave NIMI and I go and do something else, I'm not doing them. Do you know what I mean? Like, And then I don't know, like this week, I've had an explosion of people showing up at my doorstep going, hey, are you interested in doing stuff? I'm interested. And then in all three cases, I guess, because we're kind of fresh off last week's episode too, and then because I keep narrowing what I want to do, in all three cases, I said to them, I could do A and B, but I don't want to do C or D. I can do them, but I don't want to do them. Right. So if you need to find someone that does A to D, I don't care. Right. Like I'm out. Right. I'll help you find somebody. Right. But in every case I said, I'll do A and B or I'll do C. And then, 2 out of the 3 were good with it. The last one isn't sure yet. They've got to decide what they want to do. Right. But it helps, I think.
Well, at least you've made your decision. Now it's up to them to decide whether they want to use you or not.
Yeah.
But you're in your mind, you're done at least. And
right?
I mean, you've set the rules, you've set the parameters.
Yeah.
Guardrails are there. That's it.
Yeah. And then I'm clear on what happens next. If they, like one came back and said, yep, I'm in. But I was really clear on what I'm in is, right? Because I like 100% before, that's not always the case, right? Sometimes they go, I'm in. I'm like,
yeah.
What are we in for? I don't remember what we were talking about, right? Like, but now I know what I'm in for, right? And then I'm excited because it's like 2 things I want to do. I'm actually excited to do, right? And then I'm out, right? Like, so.
But at this, I would love to throw too that some of your listeners may not actually be in the position to be able to say, here's my list. I'm going to do A, B, C. I'm not going to do D and E, right? All right. Yeah. Just for whatever positioning that they're in, wherever they are in their career right now. So as a coach, I also want to offer, like, don't give up, right? Like, because there are areas where, because a lot of the times we have this thought and belief that we have to love everything that we're doing, that this existence on earth is going to have to always be 100% positive, right? And that we know isn't the case. Yeah. So just even knowing, okay, in doing this job, like you guys are both, if you will, you've given your time and you're at that position in your career that you can make these choices. Mm-hmm. And you're not being run by scarcity saying, oh my goodness, what if this contract says no, right? Because you have the confidence and the network to say, I know more will come my way, right? Whereas if somebody is in a position where they are the jack of all trades right now because they're getting their company up and running, then I want to offer to them that that's where mindset can also come in, that they may not entirely like the stuff that they're doing. And I think this was one of probably the first podcast that you had me on. We talked a little bit about spreadsheets and things like that. And it's like, okay, if it is a part of your job that you actually are required to do, how can we, as long as you keep thinking, I hate this, I can't do this, it's always going to show up as a hard thing to do, right? So how can we just do a little shift of a mindset for some of those that aren't in the position like you guys are? That you can actually still, not saying you're going to love to do spreadsheets, that's not at all, but maybe it's just okay that you're not going to like every 90% or like 100% of your job.
Yeah,
that's all.
Fair.
Yeah. And again, I'm glad it's really, after we talk, it's, these are really good first world problems. I mean, you're right. I mean, it's not like it's because, destitution is right around the corner. If you don't take it, don't take it. Mm-hmm. Right. I'm not worried about that part of it. Phil's not worried about that. You're not worried about that part. Mm-hmm. And yet it's funny. You're taking all those things out and I'm relatively rational and you still make decisions that you're kind of thinking like, what the hell, what are you doing? Like, really, I mean, do you listen to anybody? Do you hear things? Yeah. Like, are you learning? I feel better this week. So I did listen. I did rethink it. And after I heard myself, I did sort of a little bit what Laurie would do. And so I did go back and I have to just rethink things. It's for me, some of it is just honestly just taking some of the stuff off because I don't necessarily want to give anything up because I know my tendencies, but there's stuff of it I could give up to free up some time so that I'm not having that angst that I don't like to have.
Well, and I still go back to the earlier part of how it is your thought, because a lot of the times we can get into little, can get stuck when we have the definition of words that we think are serving us and they're not, or they prove not to be, right? So for you having the thought that everybody should win, right? Like even just breaking that down, just as you just even pausing long enough to look at it going, oh, wait a minute, I think winning looks like this, but clearly I'm not winning over here.
Right.
Right. So just breaking that down gives you a different lens to look at it going, okay, wait a minute, this isn't working. But that's a thought that you've had over and over again, and it's going to continue to come your way. So don't be surprised when your brain offers it to you. But now when that thought comes, you get to decide, wait a minute, when I have that thought, it actually doesn't work out that way, right? Because I end up losing in this. So what's a new thought that I can have?
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. And again, I'm lucky enough to have that spot.
Mm-hmm.
I can do that. I mean, and it's not, life's not going to shut down based on the decisions I make after that.
So
which I'm fortunate about, and Phil's in a good spot, and you're probably a good spot, and maybe some of our listeners aren't so much in that spot, different stages of careers, different levels of expertise, or whatever it is.
So what are you going to do? How do you get out of, like, you look better this week, right?
I feel better this week. Honestly, I feel better this week.
It's the cold weather. See?
Yeah, I've just
it's all
numb.
Frozen it out of you is what it's done.
You know what? On some of it, what
Laurie,
it is.
that was mean.
I gotta
say,
okay.
You're sitting in Maui. That was mean.
That's okay.
It's minus 13 here. That was.
Oh, it's freaking cold, and that wind is biting. And of course, I dress like I'm in Vancouver.
Oh, dude.
Short sleeves.
How much longer are you here? Do you want a jacket or something?
I got a jacket. It's just a jacket that's probably meant for, plus.
Yeah,
10.
yeah, I know. But
like, how
much longer are you going to be here?
No, I'm leaving tomorrow.
Oh.
I'm taking the train into town tomorrow, and then I fly in the afternoon.
Okay.
Unless you get hit by a nice storm.
Oh my!
I don't think. Oh, geez, I never checked the Laurie.
Just.
That's another mean thing. Hey, what kind of storm are you gonna have over there?
I'm just warming up. This is podcast 2.
Oh
just
my
wait.
God!
Just
Jeez,
wait,
Louise. You're supposed to be the nice one.
Right. Sorry. Right.
That's okay. I'm getting out of here tomorrow. I know that. So to answer your other question, Phil, you know what I did this week? I did a lot more things that I just like to do. And I focused more on those than I did anything else. And stuff I didn't like to do, I just didn't do. And some stuff, like I am going to start, I'm going to just take it off my plate. And it's silly, right? Some of the stuff it's not even stuff that if I wasn't so busy, I wouldn't mind to do, but I mind to do it right now. So I'm going to choose not to do it. And it's going to cost me a few pennies not to do it, but I don't really care. It's the best decision for me. And it just makes me feel a lot, just even saying that makes me feel happier.
I love it.
So I'm quite.
You go, Kenny.
Yeah.
Look at you.
Even the boss told me it was okay. She said, just that makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't give her all the details because I get that look that nothing I just did made any sense. And how did I get so far into the rabbit hole? But, after 32 years with me, she's kind of used to it. Set the bar low for that long. I mean, it is what it is.
I love it. Yeah.
It's hard though. I mean, think about it. Okay. We just finished saying it, at our ages, our experience, where we are in life in terms of what we owe and what we own and et cetera. These are not big deals. You're 25, 30 and, kids are little, you're mortgaged to the, where, and you don't have this luxury. What do you do?
Mm-hmm. You
burn out? Mm-hmm. You freak out? Or do you have to sit down? I know the process is the same, but I think it's got to be a lot tougher. It shouldn't be as tough for me to do this as it is someone 20 years younger in a whole different stage of life.
Well, and I would offer though, that could be half of our problem is because we think we shouldn't be experiencing something or shouldn't be thinking something. right? Because what we do is you're feeling burnout, but then all of a sudden you've got a judgment on top of it of thinking, oh shit, I shouldn't be.
Well, why should I feel burned out? I'm in a great spot in life. Like, seriously?
Well, and it's interesting. You would think that, because that's about the fourth or fifth time you've said first world problems.
Yeah.
And yet that you would think is a really, helpful thought. But if it's one that's actually making you feel bad, right? I don't know. You get to decide. But right now, if right now you're having judgment of actually feeling burnout and thinking, well, I shouldn't, I'm fortunate enough in somebody 25 years old that's just getting started on this, right? It's like, well, how's that thought serving you again, right? Because right now whatever, and it's not now, it's last week, whatever you were experiencing is the reality you were experiencing it. And this is for your listeners, right? Because so often we tend to think that, whatever it is that we're having, we think we shouldn't be. And so then we add this layer of judgment on it, and then it just cascades, or actually it doesn't cascade. It holds it tight. And we can't get to the original emotion.
Right.
So if anything, any nugget that somebody's going to walk away from, whatever you're experiencing, my encouragement is experience it, sit in it. And then as Kenny's just come to realization, then start to just pause in it. Like, what's the question? Why am I here? What got me here? Rather than having judgment of being in it and trying so quickly to jump out of it, to have a good feeling right away. Yeah. Like, there's value in sitting in kind of some of our shitty emotions.
Yeah. And just thinking it through. Yeah. I think that's sort of what I did. Probably not in the steps that you lay out so eloquently as usual, but I think I got to sort of that level where I just sat, I just got to look at this a little differently.
Yeah.
I got to look at this a lot differently. That's really what it is, but I'll just go little.
But
baby steps. But
catch the thought, because as I said, you've said it a few times of comparing yourself or having judgment that you shouldn't be having any negative emotion because you have a relatively good life. It's like, right? Because you're going to continue to have negative emotion, even though you have a relatively good life. So even the thought of you're setting yourself up for failure because you're going to continue to have them. It's guaranteed.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It does. That's why Laurie's on the show. She makes sense.
Yeah.
the ray of sunshine. I'm telling you that you're going to feel crappy 50% of the time. Sorry, guys. But it's so true.
But that's the reality of life, right? It's just that's life. I mean, you're not going to feel good all the time. That's the way it is.
And yet, when we don't feel good, we think something's gone wrong.
Exactly.
Right. Mm-hmm. So my question to a lot of my colleagues or clients is like, what if that wasn't true? What if this is actually you're meant to be sitting in this right now? Right? Because I love that you did experiencing that last week, because now it's made you review, wait a minute, what is this that I want my next 10, 15, 20 years going to be looking like? Am I wanting to take on contracts the same way that I've always done them in the past? Perhaps you wouldn't have had that insight now into what it is you want to be doing if you hadn't felt that way last week.
True.
Right?
Yeah. Like Phil's pensive over there.
Yeah, he does.
No, I really like it, right? Like, because I think it pulls into context a lot of what we talk about, right? Is we do talk about first world problems. We talk about being happy in what we do, and then we are in a place where, Kenny, you and I are a lot of times we're kind of like, look, I'm doing what I love, right? But
we're happy way more times than not.
Yeah. But I think that but
it's okay not to be happy once in a while.
It's
okay not to. It's not perfect.
It's good
to see. It is what it is, right? Just deal with it then, and Just and a lot. I own it. I just got to manage it, and I've got to do a better job of it. And I do have to sit down and figure out what the stuff that I like to do. That's what I should do. And the stuff that I don't like, if I can move it or figure it out. And I've got to get a lot clearer. I know me with things. I can get excited way too fast, and I know that I have to practice to walk and just think it through. right before I do what I typically do, which is just react.
Mm-hmm.
I've got to slow it down and then think, and then articulate it a little more clear. This is what I'm going to do. Here's the 10 things I'm going to do. And here's the 10 things I'm not going to do.
Yeah.
And if I still feel like helping, if that's my problem, I know people that can help you with the other 10 things. It doesn't have to be me.
Yeah. I think I'm looking pensive or thoughtful about this as well, because I'm at that, I've hinted at a bunch of these. I'm at the crossroads, right? I think I'm almost finished with NIMI now. And I've got, it's been a tough week. It's been a tough couple of weeks, but I'm in the same spot. And I think I actually really like those comments, right? I like that it's not always going to be easy. It's not always going to be good. And I think I was thinking about like, okay, I just like ground my way through 2 weeks. Yeah, I'm feeling frustrated, but is that okay? Like, is that, no, is it okay is the wrong word. It's more, did I learn something from it, or am I just frustrated and there's nothing I can derive from it? I think is what I was thinking about, right? So I like that. I like that, when times are hard, you got to figure out whether there's value in it still, right? Because I think if the struggle is real, but there's value, then maybe you're meant to be there, right? But
and I would just offer catching yourself of what you do and not do when you're feeling it, right? Because every emotion, I believe that there's value in experiencing. It's then what it causes us to do when we're there, right? And for me, this is part of my whole journey of really helping women stop overeating, is because when I was anxious and overwhelmed in my career and everything else, I would just turn to food or booze. So it was just like, oh, wait a minute, right? I'm just going to numb it out for right now because I can't solve this problem. And I would come back. That part wasn't serving me, right? But so I've actually learned to sit in anxiety, overwhelm, and fear and not have that same reaction, because those emotions are still going to happen for us in everyday life, right? But so many of us, so often as humans, we want to numb it by other things. So I think there's 2 lessons here. Is one, to actually, what do I do when I'm having an emotion, right? Because often that's where we identified there may be a problem, right? Because for me, it was like weight gain. Okay, wait a minute, that's not working for me, right? But then I don't want to ever be of the mind that we're never going to have those emotions again. So how do I actually have those emotions but not react the same way? And then I get to look at going, okay, so now I've had them. Now I've sat in anxiety. What caused me to be here? And to your point, what did I learn from being here?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like there's such richness in that.
Yeah, I think so. Cool. So smart.
There we go.
So smart. This Laurie lady.
There you go. You actually got off pretty easy, Phil. Poor Kenny got it all today.
No, Phil's loving every minute of this. Don't worry. This time will come, Laura. This time will come.
Yeah, it'll be next time.
Maybe next week. I don't know.
I think so.
See, I learned a lot just from last week and just from listening to the past episodes.
No,
I sat down
it.
and I knew the stuff that was bugging me, and I sort of not great at it, but I'm going to slowly start to deal with it.
This might be, so we have a cohort of younger listeners. I think if you're running into something like this, we'd love it if you reached out to us, and got you on with Laurie, or you can pose your question, and then we can pose it to Laurie and share it with her ahead of time so she can think it through. And I'm pretty sure Laurie's is smart off the cuff, but at least we give her a chance to think it through as well. But that would be amazing. So I think reach out to us if you've got something like this, and the next session of WWLD could be Laurie helping you sort things out. So that would be awesome.
That would be great.
Yeah,
very cool.
That's going to be in the new year, guys. Crazy.
It's crazy, man. It's almost over. What are we on?
I really wish that it was the new year and then it was in Hawaii, though. Because I'm awfully jealous that you're in Maui.
It's fun.
Fun
doing my planning for 2020. Sitting by the pool.
Oh, that's very cool.
Nice place to do it. I can see the little fire in the background there.
Yeah. My goodness.
Anyway, go and enjoy a glass of wine.
Yes.
Or whatever you're doing.
Yes.
And thanks as always, Laurie.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
All
right.
Okay.
Thanks. Okay. Bye, guys.
Ciao, ciao.
Ciao. All right. That's the end of this Commerce Life. We'll be back soon with the next episode. Thank you for joining us. We hope you enjoyed it. Give us feedback. Tell us what you think. Subscribe, like us, join us, share us, tell your friends about us. And we hope to see you next time with more commerce news.